Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It is Monday night, which means that we are playing the Masks of Nyarlathotep. It's fun. We're having fun. Other things that we do on the channel: Wednesday nights, we have Simba Room, and every other Thursday we have the Yellow King. So this week is an off week, so the current schedule of things is this tonight, Simba Room Wednesday, this again next Monday, then Simba Room, then the Yellow King, and so on. We also do one-shots on weekend days. I believe there's going to be one this month with a date TBC. So there are links below the video to our social media and our Discord where you can get updates on when things are happening. And also to our other streaming platforms, so Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, or YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, and our Patreon where you can support us if you enjoy what we are doing on the channel. So without further ado, let's do a little recap. So the group are currently in Peru. They have gone there answering an ad to go on an expedition. Lots of strange things have happened. Their patron, Augustus Larkin, is leading the expedition with them. They have met somebody by the name of Jackson Elias, who is also on the expedition. The assistant of Augustus Larkin, whose name is Luis de Mendoza, may or may not be a fat-sucking vampire and is currently not with the expedition. The group are currently on foot on their way to the destination, which is believed to be a pyramid, kind of lost pyramid with many things to be discovered. The group are probably about a day's walk away. So yes, lots of fun things may happen. Sadly, both Sam and Inga cannot join us this evening, but the rest of the gang are here. So let's first bring on Steve, who plays Edwin Price. Hey, Steve.
Hello.
Give us a recap on Edwin and his current frame of mind, please.
Sure. Edwin is a lawyer. Edwin was encouraged to travel the world by a good friend of his who is also who is an explorer. Edwin is not an explorer yet. Yes, and Edwin has really. There have been some strange occurrences. There have been quite a few people following us around, tailing us in this neck of the woods. And on our journey on foot through the wilds, a number of animals have made themselves known. 9-meter long anacondas and those other things. Andean condor as well. Those were exciting. And then something attacked our mules overnight. So that was, it's not good. We're definitely, they seem to be human shaped. We think we're being stalked by these Cariciri. And lo and behold, they've attacked other people that we've bumped into on the route as well. So it's not looking particularly safe. But we stayed in the night in a nice farmstead, having helped Julio and Domingo.
Correct. Yeah.
So yes, Domingo had been attacked by one of these things. One of our party members managed to patch them up, and as sort of a reward for that, we were invited to stay overnight in their farmstead. So hopefully nice and safe for the moment.
Great, thank you. Let's bring on Justin, who plays Mr. Farwell.
Hello.
Hey, Justin. How are you? How is Mr. Farwell? What's going on in his mind at the moment?
I think well on both accounts. I think that, Farwell is not 100% convinced about vampires, but equally they don't think it's implausible. They just, there could certainly be vampires, but is this a vampire? Who knows? So until we have a better understanding of the vampire situation, he's cautious, slightly concerned for his wife, and glad to be in a large group because they're safety numbers.
Great, thank you. Your wife, of course, usually Mrs. W. Farwell, usually played by Sam, who can't be with us this evening. Let's bring on John, who plays Merritt Barton. Hey, John. Little recap on Merritt and his current frame of mind, please.
Merritt is a linguist. He's here in the capacity of a translator. His current frame of mind is, I guess, conflicted to an extent. He doesn't really know if he believes as much of the supernatural as, say, Mrs. Farwell does. But he is fairly sure that there are some unsavory characters wishing to achieve some goals for presumably bad outcomes for other people. And to that extent, he is eager to stop those aims from coming to fruition. Everything else sort of feels like wait and see.
Cool. Thanks. And finally for this evening, Jack, who plays Ted Hobbs. Hey, Jack.
Hi, Jonny.
Little recap on Ted, please.
Ted is a photojournalist from Nottingham who is on the expedition in order to basically get a story to write a series of articles about and get his name out there as a top journalist. In terms of what's going on, he doesn't believe in anything supernatural happening. There's a rational explanation for all of it. Most of his rational explanation for all of it is this is probably what it's like in South America. He's never been before, and it's exotic and different. He doesn't, he doesn't disbelieve that there's like a death cult or people going around pretending to be these vampires in order to drum up fear. But nah, it's like rubbish. Is his view in terms of anything supernatural, which will be interesting when there's eventually something he can't explain away with, English arrogance in the 1920s, I guess.
We're very unlikely to see anything like that in the campaign Masks of Nyarlathotep.
No, I think it's pretty grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Only slight hints of stuff going on. So I'm sure he'll survive to the end of the campaign.
It's pretty short as well, so I think we're gearing up towards the end, so it can't really escalate much more.
Yeah,
right?
this is
the scariest thing is when you'll go to a Halloween party and there'll be two people wearing masks of Nyarlathotep.
Yep.
That's like I've ruined the ending. Sorry. Yeah.
And that already has a logical explanation for Ted that these South American Halloween parties are just scarier than ours.
Good.
So, yeah.
Cool, thank you. Right, so you had spent the night on sort of Julio's farmstead floor. You had put the mules in sort of steading, so to make sure that they're protected this evening. And morning rolls around. It's a slightly overcast morning, but reasonably pleasant. Julio dishes up some food for everyone, sort of before you head on your way. But it's I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say to them, or if you're just kind of heading out, continuing on your way. Larkin is reasonably keen to get going, but isn't, sort of shoving you out the door. So depends if there's anything else that you guys want to do.
Have we explicitly asked them about the rumors about the pyramid?
I don't think we
I'm
have.
not sure we did.
Should
I think
we ask
you asked them
it?
about Karasiri, like if there was anything. I remember you asking if there was anything that they sort of knew about that people in the town, different stories that they had than the people in the town. But I don't think you asked about the pyramid.
Well, I guess the two things I would want to ask them is about the pyramid generally, and also whether they've heard this. Run quickly through the tale that we were told about the lake and the creature that was imprisoned there, and all that other folklore tale, and see if anything comes to mind with it. Whether they, just like searching for some clues, additional spin. But if it's very similar to what we've already heard, then we don't need to go over it all, I suppose.
Yep. So coming back to you via let's say merit. Julio says, I'm afraid I don't know that story that you were told. And I actually don't know anything specifically about a pyramid in this area, but I don't tend to go much higher than here. I tend to be between here and the town. So
well, that's still interesting and good news. So
he apologizes for not being able to be more helpful. You see Domingo is sort of like moving slightly pained, but looking, like he's going to be okay kind of thing. And I think Martin gives him a check over as well before you go.
No writhing masses below the skin, anything like that.
Not that you've seen.
At the ready. Inga's not here, so I'm ready to step in if needs be. Well, I suppose the bright side is that if the locals don't know about the pyramid temple, there's probably lots of artifacts that still are there that can be liberated.
Larkin's kind of nodding along with you and smiling,
which is only good news.
And Mrs. Farwell at this point looks like ...
I mean, we can all imagine.
Probably less keen.
Well, I think I'd be if there was like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so spare, I'd maybe be sort of wandering around the outside of the farmstead, just maybe looking around and listening and trying to see if there are any weird tracks or footprints. I guess it's a farmstead, so there's going to be loads. But I just want to, little sneaky fear that we might have been followed, maybe watched overnight. I don't know.
So while you're doing this, you note that there's no harm to any of the livestock.
Good.
And if you want to make a track roll.
I am crap at tracking, but you never know. Yeah, no, I don't. I've got base track and roll 63, so
that's cool. Yeah, as far as you're concerned, there's nothing out of the ordinary to be found here in terms of anybody milling around. And yeah, I think you head back in reasonably confident that maybe they've just continued on their way, having perhaps an attack of opportunity upon Julio and Domingo, and then have been on their way. Cool. Anything else before you head out? Cool. Great. Yeah, Larkin very happy to be making a move. And you continue further along the track that you've been walking on. And up the mountain. So again, you kind of you stop after a few hours for some lunch. No further encounters with any long or flying creatures that might wish you ill or otherwise. And as you're kind of getting into mid-afternoon and you crest the brow of a hill, can everybody make a spot hidden roll for me?
So no from me. 91 over 50.
No.
It is a no from me.
Nope.
Okay. Some tall grass covers the valley ahead of you, and that's it. So you continue on through this through this tall grass, and come out the other side, and again crest the brow of another hill as you have gone through this valley. And as you are, the sun is beginning to dip sort of behind the mountain ahead of you, and you realize that it's difficult to tell because there's often false summits on these kind of things, but you think that you may be heading up towards sort of a plateau. And eventually you you're going up this path and going up this path, and eventually you come across a sort of slightly sunk area to your right, and like an actual sort of plateau area, and you can see what looks like the top of this pyramid. So there's like a large sort of ruins area. So there's a stone wall surrounding the site. You can all tell from looking at this area that sort of a lot of it is kind of submerged. So you can't tell how tall the wall would have originally been, for example. So the portions of it protrude from the ground at sort of varying heights depending on where it is around the wall, sort of 2 to 4 meters high. There is the pyramid area. There are sort of steps leading up. It's not a traditional pyramided shape. It's sort of almost like an L shape pyramid. And as you are kind of up on this area, you see a figure sort of climbing up the last step outside on the side of the pyramid. So these sectioned blocks are sort of step-like in nature, and they're about 5 feet in height each. So you see this figure kind of clambering up onto this next step up and then onto the top. And there are 5 steps rising from above the ground. So you don't know how far that goes down. And you see this figure moving over towards what looks like a crack in the stone in the top and kneeling down. Stays there for a minute or so, and then looks to be clambering back down again from the top of the pyramid. And then another figure climbs up, walks up to this crack in the top, kneels there for a similar amount of time. If everybody wants to make spot hidden rolls.
I have a strange feeling I might have an idea about what's going on. But I got an 88, so I don't think I make it.
Yeah. I failed, and my justification is that Ted's probably not noticed because he's probably setting up his camera on the tripod for a nice shot of the pyramid at the top of the hill.
I succeeded.
This time I succeeded with 7 under 50, which is an extreme success, I think.
Okay. So, Merritt, it looks like they're vomiting.
Oh.
And Edwin, you can see that it's like thick white fluid that they're vomiting into this crack in the top of the pyramid. And then that one clambers down to the other side. You lose sight of them both as they're down the far side of the pyramid. This is kind of happening as you're walking along this top bit. Larkin has not noticed or is paying it no mind. He got excited at the initial view of the area, but then is kind of saying, "Oh, we have to go up and around this peak, and then I can see there's a path there, and you can see that there's a path that leads in from the opposite side to where you have come in from, and there's sort of a large entryway in the wall there." So yeah, he's kind of like pushing on. But yeah, those of you who have seen that have seen what you've seen.
Is anyone discussing this? Because Farwell would like to react strongly.
Merritt will point them out.
That is that a death cult?
Well, I don't think it's normal behavior to vomit into a lost pyramid, so perhaps.
I mean,
That
these
vomit
guys
didn't-
must. It's not. Sorry, you go, Steve.
Vomit didn't. It didn't look normal either.
I mean, there's nothing normal about any of that, is there, really? Whether it was...
Well, no, but what could they be doing?
I mean, Larkin either hasn't noticed... Is he sort of ahead of us then, enough for us to have this conversation without him? Okay. Larkin doesn't seem too bothered. You muted,
You're on
Jonny.
mute.
Yeah, he's ahead of you, and you think that, you know, if you're having this conversation in hushed tones, you don't think that he's got excited and kind of rushed off ahead to sort of start making his way down.
So Larkin's either not noticed or doesn't care.
I think not noticed is most likely.
Yeah, he's very excited.
Did we see any kind of like white foam around the professor's mouth when we found the?
Yes, I think so. I seem to remember some sort of white wax-like substance being described.
Hmm.
What are you thinking, Mr. Farwell?
Well, I'm looking at my wife. I'm not sold on the idea of vampires. I'm not against the idea that, but supposing that these vampire things were real, and supposing a lot of them weren't some of them trapped in a in this structure, supposedly, according to the notes that we found in the museum?
Here may have been the origin of the parasites that may or may not have turned them into vampires
But
or
didn't they?
vampire-like creatures.
Am I remembering this correctly? That the note said that there were things calling him back to the temple, like to join them.
Yeah.
Like maybe so that's kind of like what Far was getting at. Maybe there are these. Maybe the things are in the temple. Maybe this is them being fed, or I don't know. Maybe that's what they believe. I don't know. I'm just saying it's unusual.
Maybe this is them laying some sort of a trap.
What, that we go in the
Or-
pyramid and get covered in some sort of
It's
slime?
possible.
We can't.
Is
rule
the
anything
where is the
out.
crack that they were vomiting into in relation to the entrance?
Yeah, that's definitely a question I want to know the answer to as well.
Okay, let me. So I've made this. Well, I've not made it, but just ignore any. I need to. I realised that I need to
Ignore the
probably
bits
show
that say
you
players die.
the
here.
layout. No, just
Right.
ignore that anything is numbered because they're not necessarily. Anything.
So the numbers
Sure.
aren't important at all. They're just.
Yeah, no. Frequently I find that games add numbers to maps that
Yeah,
don't mean
just
anything at
weird,
all.
yeah.
At all.
I mean, as long as the map isn't lewd, that's the main thing. Watchers of Simbaroom will be aware of this, and probably nobody
Oh
else.
yes, no, I haven't seen the clip. Yeah,
Okay.
I like how that was a real Rorschach test, and I saw different. Everyone saw something that wasn't right, but but everyone else seemed to see different things than what I saw. I was like, "That's what you guys saw? Crazy!"
Okay.
Oh,
So obviously here's the pyramid, and there's the crack, and then this is the
So-
entrance that you'll be coming into down this
Right.
path. So you're kind of working your way around a
Right.
peak that is, let's say, over here,
Yeah,
to then drop back down and in through this path.
It is. That's a big old crack, isn't it?
Yeah, when you look at that in imperial
It's not
yards.
small.
Wow.
Yeah.
What I would my
Ooh,
my
wall
query
detail.
is:
Sorry,
are
I can't see that
these
Yes,
are
you haven't
these
seen that yet.
Are these I guess vomiters? Are they filing in and out, or are they? Do they have to come back down this path that we're using to get there to come back, or
All you've seen
What are we seeing?
is them basically hike themselves up onto the top and then go back down again, and it's down the side that you can't see sort of where they've gone, so you've lost sight of them essentially. But there has only been two that you have seen.
Right.
You don't see anybody else milling about in this area.
Okay,
or going,
only
out.
two.
Or,
There's not like
yeah.
hundreds of them.
We've seen
we
two.
know
Edwin, yes, Edwin will be looking around really quite carefully now to see if there are any more around. Because either they've been doing this all the time, and we've just turned up to witness a couple of them, or the timing's suspicious. But
I hadn't thought
we
of
can't
that.
know.
That is
regardless,
concerning,
we
really
shouldn't let
honest.
Larkin wander in alone.
No, we need to stay together.
Yes, we all run down the path after Larkin.
Yes.
Has Hobbs rolled for his photograph yet?
No, I didn't, did I? That's hey, that's a pass. Underneath my half score, so that's good.
Nice.
Good.
The only good roll of the night from me. So
And you're taking that of the area as a whole.
yeah, like sort of as we're on like a hill, aren't we? So it's sort of the pyramid and the pyramid's sort of grounds, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, okay. So you're heading down, and yeah, you've made your way round to this path, and you can kind of see the area, you know, as it would look to one traveling down to this area, and you come towards the entrance area, and you can see that that wall detail now. So yeah, you basically see these sort of almost sort of like human looking head depictions, but with sort of distended mouths, and yeah, there are like there is one version of the carved head kind of over the entryway, like a bigger version of it, which I think you probably find a little unsettling. And yeah, you head in with Larkin kind of leading the way, excited. And you can see, you kind of got this impression from above because you could see kind of areas of the wall were more sort of uncovered than others, but the ground within is quite uneven, as there's sort of piles of kind of silt blown into dunes within this area, so it is kind of, you know, quite bumpy and up and down in here. You still haven't got sight of the two figures that were in here or anyone else, and just check what else you can see. Obviously, the pyramid is reasonably imposing from here, even though a lot of it is underground. There's still about 30 feet of it that's above ground, so you know it's relatively tall still. Does anybody want to make archaeology rolls for what you're seeing? If anybody is sort of okay at archaeology.
I've got a 1% chance.
If you've just got the base stat, then no roll. But if you have if you have some points, then
that's ridiculous, Johnny.
I'm going to roll.
I can't believe you would allow me to make that roll, even though I would have rolled a 61 on it.
What's a 20 and a 0? Well, it's not going to be 200. So yeah, I wasted a good roll. I have 1% in.
It's not going to be 200. Maybe.
Yeah, don't roll a 200. That'd be
very bad.
That'd be very bad. Yeah.
John, how did Merit do?
No, I failed. I rolled an unnice 69 over 36.
Okay. So yeah, Larkin is kind of just heading straight towards the pyramid. He's kind of looking around as he walks over.
Did we make him aware of what was going on top of the pyramid?
I think we probably should.
Yeah, I might shout. Well, kind of like not shout, but talk loud enough to get his attention and tell him to watch out. We saw some people up on top of that thing. Maybe members of the Death Cult,
or perhaps a rival expedition who have beaten us here by mere moments. You should press on.
Perhaps.
He continues on.
Can I do a psychology roll on this guy?
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm like, this would be a bad time to discover this guy is the head of the death cult. I rolled a 73, so not a success, but
I
it's
rolled
always worth trying.
29 under 35.
Okay. He's
head of the death
definitely
cult.
excited to be here.
Okay.
But you got the impression that he did the kind of brushing over it thing again there.
Okay.
He's a strange guy, isn't he?
Mm,
I'm gonna make a new rule about not trusting people who don't know where they got their tattoos.
I will say as an aside to Mr. Farwell, I don't think he's entirely surprised.
My hand is going to be like I'm clutching this gold bar as if like inside this rucksack, as if it is some kind of security or safety blanket. Maybe it will be if I use it to clobber someone's head in, but that's I'm reaching for it and touching it, caressing it. I think the normal Cthulhu things like just like weird attachment to this gold bar. That's what I'm going for.
okay.
He kind of says, "Come, riches and knowledge await."
I'll ask him, did you know of any other expeditions?
Well, no, but perhaps maybe Professor Sanchez has spoken to somebody and somebody has set something up.
Perhaps.
Sorry, Mr. Hughes, I mean no offense, but perhaps this is why I was trying to keep the particulars of the expedition under wraps.
The figures seem to be doing something on the top of the pyramid. Shouldn't we?
Way in, maybe.
Maybe
Potentially.
maybe potentially, but it's worth seeing what's happening. If it is a way in, then, or if it's
And it will
something
give
else
us
of
a-
interest.
It will give us a clear vantage point of the surroundings. Maybe we can see where the figures went.
It's settled then, and he carries on towards the pyramid.
I'm suddenly regretting, like, this is like, it's only really very real how, like, oh shit, Larkin's the head of this
Oh.
expedition.
He's crackers. So looking around the place, is there anything else? So there's the pyramid, there's the walls with the weird elongated faces on. Can I just teeth? Do the weird elongated faces? What's the tooth situation on these?
Or fat sucking situation
Yeah.
if they have fat suckers.
There's
normal
that I think actually it looks like if anything there are no teeth,
Okay.
or at least minimal teeth. It's not
Right.
like a spiraling maw.
Okay, good. That's good.
This may be what the previous archaeology roll was for, but do the figures, are they congruent with the sort of thing we'd expect to find in this region?
That's a great question. So the two things that were found here were, he says,
There was a oh no,
a pendant,
falling.
man holding two staves.
That was 5th or
What, a cup or
7th century
something?
Bolivian,
Yep.
and a gold cup that was 15th century Incan.
Yeah.
If we require a roll for that, can we bypass that by asking Jackson Elias if he, try and game the system by asking the NPCs?
Oh, you've played this before. Sneaky.
John, you're sort of aware of some of this culture. These these carvings are not something that you recognize as they are. So, so a lot of places, even if they're separate from each other, but sort of, within South America might have quite similar themes. But this particular image is not something that you recognize. It's not so out there that it's, oh my God, but it's like, yeah, you don't really have a frame of reference for this particular layout of facial features kind of thing.
I think I'll be making some quick, probably poor sketches in my notebook of these details.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a nice photo. Well, a photo of one. I failed that photography role. I just got a selfie or something. I had the lens cap on.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for any sections of missing gold and golden symboled bars stuck into walls, that kind of thing.
So this pyramid, are there any other entrances to it? What are there any sort of obvious
to the
so we've seen
pyramid?
we've seen people on top. And there's stuff around. We've seen the wall with the faces.
You can't see a door.
Okay.
And
because of course
the walls are
still,
not.
We're only looking at the top.
Yeah. The walls sort of surrounding the area. They're not super close as you get round sort of the two sides that are kind of the opposite to where you are, but also they're close enough that you think it would be strange if that was where the entrance was, if that makes sense, rather than on this more open two sides. So you think it's less likely that there's an entrance around either the back or the right, which is what you would be looking at. I can share the image again if you like. So yeah, you've obviously come in from this side. Yeah. So being around there or there, you think would be kind of strange, especially as as it's sunk, the steps would be further out and out and out and closer to the walls.
Makes sense to me.
But if you want, so Larkin is heading straight towards the pyramid, but you are welcome to have more of a look around the area if you want to do that.
I'm going to stick with Larkin, I think.
I think somebody should certainly stick with Larkin.
Jackson is pushing on with him.
Okay. I mean, it's going to take them, if they're clambering up the top, it'll take them a few. They're not going to leap up it. So
no, they are big blocks.
Yeah, I might have a sort of a more of a wander around the sort of the enclosed area, just to see what I can see, but trying to remain in sight of other people at all times.
I'll go with Edwin.
I'll go with Larkin.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, as you're looking around, there are a few like small towers, which were kind of denoted on the map, which may have been chimneys or just columns from, because like you don't know how much is underground. There are a few more sort of walls which denote that there may have been additional buildings in here at some point. And yeah, obviously you're navigating this kind of, duney system that has built up here. As you head down into the bottom right-hand corner, you start to get like a bad smell. And you start to hear the buzz of flies as you are heading over into this bottom. Are you continuing on at this?
Carefully, yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's like a smell of decay, as you might have expected from the buzz of the flies, and you kind of crest over this dune, and you can see that there is a large pit dug into the corner of this area, which had been hidden from you by the ebb and flow of the dunes. And you can see that there are bodies in this pit. Are you continuing to get closer?
I'll look at Merritt, I think.
I think slightly closer to see what state the bodies are in, but not right up to the edge.
Okay. You can see that the bodies are in various states of decomposition. Some look like they may have been there for years, as they are, basically completely skeletal, or just have little bits of sort of tatters of flesh hanging on. And those who are have clearly become resident there more recently look very emaciated, and kind of like Trinidad Rizzo did in the basement of the university. Can you both make me spot hidden rolls, please?
You pass with a 41 under 50.
An extreme success with 8 under 65.
Ooh. Okay. You both see that there is what looks like the entrance to a tunnel in this pit. Kind of against the wall of the pit. It looks like it goes off kind of back under where you've come from. So I'm going to say that you've kind of worked your way around the pit to have a look. So heading back, sort of north, essentially. In that wall is you can see a tunnel going off. Merritt and Edwin, you also see glints of something golden at the bottom of the pit, and wonder if perhaps it's could be related to the other gold section. But Merritt, you see that it's more like loose gold coins and items of jewelry, which presumably have just been in the pockets of, or whatever the people that have been put in this pit. So yeah, nothing related to the larger situation, as it were, just incidental gold items. So yeah, you can see this tunnel entrance that looks like it goes certainly underground, perhaps to a lower area of the pyramid. That's all there is to see here.
I think Edwin will kind of step back, probably gagging somewhat from the stench. Merritt, this isn't archaeology. We need to tell the others.
This is a garbage heap.
I wouldn't have used those words specifically.
No?
Too many bodies. This is a dumping ground, all right, but this isn't a. It's not a grave. It's not a. It's morbid. This isn't right.
Some of those more recent bodies look an awful lot like the researcher from the university.
I don't like this.
No.
Okay, let's jump to the others. You are. I'm going to say that. Let's say that Martin came with you two, and Mrs. Farwell is going with Mr. Farwell and Ted for the sake of spreading the group out. Larkin starts to clamber up the side of the pyramid. Is everybody following?
Yeah, I think so. Not like without any caution, cautiously following, but yes, yeah, and keeping an eye out around us, keeping sure footing, and taking other precautions to avoid, death.
Yeah. Jack, how cautious is Ted being? For no reason.
Oh, in that case, he's carefree and loving life. Maybe less cautious, but still a little bit cautious. You've still seen people here.
Yeah,
that's still weird.
And yet you're carrying your valuable camera.
I am.
You're not going to be.
Yeah, he's got to be cautious.
Dragging that up the steps. Yeah.
Do you think you would be going at the same speed as the Farwells, or maybe a bit quicker?
Probably a little bit quicker. I imagine Mrs. Farwell's potentially being a gentleman and helping Mrs. Farwell up as well, whereas
she can help herself up.
Ted isn't being as considerate. Maybe he's between the Farwells and Larkin would be his position.
Okay. Cool. So you get to the top, and can you make me a spot hidden roll, please, Jack?
That is a failure.
Okay. So yeah, you get up here, and it's a similar story to the other groups. So there are a large number of flies up here, and a smell of sort of corruption and decay, which is clearly emanating from this, this crack. It's only at its widest, it's like 3 inches wide. So it's not a hugely open crack, but it obviously spans quite a width, but it's not actually massively open. Okay, let's say the Farwells get up as well, and Jackson is here also. Anyone who's sort of paying attention to the crack, which I would assume is everybody, you can make a listen roll for me.
Why not? I'm not sticking my head in it.
Failed that as well.
Well, I rolled a 96 for Mrs. Farwell, so
yeah, I did better, but not appreciably better.
Ted's probably just happily whistling, oblivious to the situation, which is just distracting everyone.
So you don't. All you can hear is the buzzing of the flies, and Larkin, sort of looking a little sad, says, "Well, there's no way in here."
I mean,
How wide is this crack? Could you maybe stick your hand in and see if?
It's certainly not wide enough for any of us to fit in, Mr. Farwell.
I've got a lamp. We could shine it down and see if there's anything down there that we could.
we could have a little look inside before we
Have a look inside.
Yeah.
Are you going to have a
Well,
look
Mr.
inside?
Farwell.
Ted, I'm going to stay here with my wife. Do you care to stick your face into that? It's the more of this abandoned temple, just for no particular reason.
Look, you know you're probably going to have to do a sanity roll about this at some point. You might
what,
as well do it now.
Yeah, Ted will pinch his nose from this, to try and stop some of the stench and go and take the torch.
Sure.
And take a look.
that was surprisingly easy to convince you to do that.
Okay.
It's probably just some rotting animal meat that's been dropped down there or something. But
You can't see anything.
Not even. All right. Okay.
The light, like I said, the gap is only this wide, right? So the light kind of shines down the gap to a distance that you find difficult to judge. But all you can see is the edge of this crack rather than anything else. Or perhaps it opens out below that, but you can't. The light does not shine down enough for you to see anything down there.
How accurate was the vomiting? Like, is there bits around the crack, or did they manage to get it
splashback?
all in?
We're asking about splashback, I guess.
Sure, yeah. You can see some sort of white. If I'm going to say that Ted doesn't know whether this is his actual opinion or whether it's coloured by the knowledge that he has about these things. But if you had to say anything to relate it to, it would be like lard. So, a fat-based substance.
Ted will take his pen and, do like what they do in TV shows or movies and stuff, just to demonstrate a substance like that. Stick a pen in it and hold it up.
As long as it's not like translucent alien goo, we'll be fine.
It's the crossover we all really want.
Larkin's already making his way back down as you're doing this. Keen to find another entrance.
Isn't it?
Good job we haven't just found a really awful entrance into...
I'll show you the pen covered in the lard-like substance to the Farwells in Jackson and go, well, yeah. This looks like what they were.
Ted? I'm just revolted by this thing. I don't know why you're showing it to me. I have no interest in seeing it.
I think this is what they were.
This is the rudest thing you've done in my estimation ever.
I mean, he's not holding it under your nose and going, have a look at this.
I
flick it at him.
It sounded as approximately what you were doing.
It says, well, this... He says, this looks like what they were vomiting in.
Fascinating, Ted. I say, hopping off the stone and helping Mrs. Farwell down.
We're all doomed, clearly. This is...
I'm assuming that Merritt and Edwin are heading back to meet everybody. Is that kind of the plan?
Yes, at least that would be... Yeah.
Cool.
We don't really want to do a lap of the perimeter. There's someone lurking behind.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that, we couldn't see that people weren't hiding behind walls and things like that.
So you want to do a wander around? A double check?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Want is such a strong word for these emotions.
Are you meeting up with everybody before doing that, or are you two and Martin doing that?
I guess it depends on how long it's going to take them to climb down the pyramid.
Let's say that when you turn around from this pit, you can see that Larkin is beginning to work his way down. So by the time you got there, you think the group would be down if they're following shortly after.
Yeah, in which case, I think telling them up front, meeting them, and yes.
Agreed.
Explaining
Best not to
that
go
there's
wandering off.
There's a pit just over there.
Oh, a way in?
There is a tunnel in it, yes, but it's full of decaying bodies and skeletons. But some of them are and bodies and skeletons, and some of them look more recent than people have been here, and some of those bodies are fresh.
Perhaps the rival expedition is falling apart with itself, fighting for treasures.
How many? So you've explained how many bodies there were, like a pile of bodies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many?
That
Yes.
sounds...
Is it like 5, 10, 20?
200? 2,000?
What's the cubic volume?
It's 15 feet square.
Right.
Volume.
And you would guess about 10 feet deep. And there's a it's a decent amount full.
That is,
so a lot.
And they'll squish down a bit after a while.
Yeah. If you assume one person would be like maximum time would be 1 by 1 by 6 feet, then no, this is turning into a GCSE math question.
Wow.
Are we assuming any of these
GCSE.
things? These things
How optimally are they stacked? Would you say?
It's like
Yeah,
Tetris.
is it cubic or hexagonal? No, a standard pit full of bodies.
A pitfall, yeah. Everyone knows that.
Look, if we start getting into Imperial body pit, we have to start addressing serious colonialism issues. So, because that might have been an actual measure in our ridiculous country's history. So we should move to the fact that Larkin is clearly not appreciating.
Yes.
This.
I'm
Larkin...
presuming like there's a go on.
No, I was gonna. I mean, like, I maybe tried to ask Larkin if he needs to sit down. Maybe the heat has got to him. This is not what we were expecting when we came here.
Yes. Perhaps I am getting a little carried away.
We were considering. Well, did you see anything else from the top of the pyramid? Surely there's more than just this and the pit.
You didn't. You are aware that again there could be things obscured by the dunes as well as the general build-up and sort of submersion of this area, but you didn't spot any.
No obvious entrances or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, nothing new really. We had a look at the crack, but couldn't really see anything in it.
I mean,
perhaps we should walk the perimeter a bit more before we consign ourselves to the body pit.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone doing a scout?
I think I'm gonna not scout, but like keep on lookouts. Try to keep an eye on people. Make sure nobody disappears,
And
especially Larkin.
Do you think Mrs. F would scout or stay with you?
I think she would scout.
Okay,
You couldn't stop her scouting in a situation like this.
And I'm going to say that Jackson will scout as well. So is it just Mr. Farwell? Is Ted going on this walkabout also?
Yeah, he'll go for a little walkabout as well.
So we're leaving Mr. Farwell on his own.
No, it's with Larkin.
I'm keeping a look
Oh,
over
that's
everything.
fine
He's
then.
completely trustworthy.
That's fine. Okay, right, yeah.
Can right? If you're doing like a concerted look around, can you please make spot hidden rolls for me? And I'm going to need a hard success.
Well, you can have a nice failure then. Well, you
That's
failure
failure.
anyway, regardless of the level of success.
Boo. Save us, John.
No.
I'm glad we all invested
Definitely not.
in the right skills for this job. What we did on characters.
It's skills. It's just the sporadic that can't rely on them.
Okay.
It's weird that a 50% skill wouldn't work all the time. I don't know quite why that
It
would
feels
be.
like it's
Believe it or
gone
not,
last, you know?
Mrs. Farwell and Martin say, "Oh, come over here." And they point out to you with kind of like a little bit of a digging. Mrs. Farwell says, "I noticed that the sand was sinking here." And they kind of basically unveil. You're pretty certain that it's the kind of what looked like the towers or chimney stacks, but the top has been damaged, removed, whatever, and then it's been covered by this kind of silt dune, but it was kind of just under the edge of it. So they've managed to uncover this, and there is, basically a vertical shaft going down, and you can. Has anybody got a light? Does Ted still got a
I
lantern,
imagine
or
he
is it back
probably
with Mr.
gave it
Farwell?
back.
I do. I mean, are you guys away from us then?
I mean, I've got sorry, Ted's got a lighter, you know.
Only a little, so you could easily get it back. So yeah, let's say that you get light, and I think that Larkin would be keen to come over at this point as well. So perhaps Mr. Farwell also heads over. I'll to you, Justin.
Absolutely. I've got this kerosene lantern which can be used.
So you can see that this drops about, you'd guess about 5 meters, about between 2 and 3 persons' height, and then there is a flat bottom, but you can see, or you maybe couldn't at first, but Mrs. Farwell then points out that it looks like there is a shaft going off from the side, perhaps at a downward angle from the bottom of here as well, and says perhaps an alternative way in that doesn't involve desecrating remains.
Yeah, it definitely looks a lot better to get in this way. Has anyone brought any rope? You'd hope so, but I didn't.
Yes,
I did.
yes.
Yeah, you can. Are you heading in?
Who's going first?
I don't suppose any of you are particularly good at climbing, are you?
There's a question. Climb is a skill. Oh dear.
I am.
Right, yeah.
Ted is actually good at climbing.
I'm going to tell you that you won't need to make a roll if you're roping down.
That's good. That's good. In which
Because
case,
it's basically a gentle walk down the wall while holding the rope. It's
Okay.
not a, it's not.
do we
a
think? I
concerted
mean, like,
effort.
does Mr.
Getting back
Larkin
out, on the other hand, is
Mr. Larkin
entirely
keen to go first?
Are you asking him?
I don't know whether I want to know the answer to that, but I think I wonder if he's putting himself forward.
Ted will ask, so who's going first?
Oh yeah.
He doesn't offer. He doesn't offer up.
Okay. I can go. I can have a look at my big sack with the gold bar in it, and I guess I'm hoisting that onto my shoulder and climbing down with it. But I'm getting that fucking gun out before I'm like shoving that, like, not necessarily this obviously, but like just like into my kind of like belt. Because this is like, I didn't sign up to be a hero. Like, but yeah, I'll go down the rope.
Okay. Yeah. So you've gone first. Who's going last? I will say at this point, Larkin says, "I'm actually, now Mr. Farwell has pointed out that I should have a sit. I'm actually not feeling 100%.
I think perhaps someone should stay with you in that case.
Well, that's up to you. I'm not sure it's necessary.
If like maybe he says this as Farwell's going down, he'll just give a look to everyone like, and then just keep going
Holding
down.
on.
Like,
I'm almost tempted to kind of say, well, you've come all this way and you're planning to miss
perhaps
out.
No, perhaps you could scope out, and I could make my way in when I'm feeling a little better.
Well, we're probably better off staying as a group because who knows what twists and turns are in there. We don't really want to get split up.
and don't forget the death contest.
And yeah, there's the other expedition, and if you think that they've been killing each other and dumping the bodies, what are they going to do when they find someone from a rival expedition sat here on their own? We're much better staying in a group.
Surely you'll find it much more restful to stay out of the sun, Mr. Larkin.
Can I be honest with you?
Of course.
I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm afraid I suffer from a little claustrophobia. You can make a psychology roll if you want. Just
I'm
Yeah.
gone.
Yes.
I'm down the hole.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just hearing this like,
I'm like, yeah. A vampire wouldn't want to return to the fucking place that they've been imprisoned for years. Never mind.
I failed the psychology roll.
I also failed the psychology roll, but
Ted will say, I don't mean to be offensive, but did you not
Get in the hole.
might have been some sort of, dark enclosed space inside of the pyramid?
Well, this is a little different to walking in the front door, Mr. Hobbs.
It looked pretty spacious in there, though. Once you're over the, you'll be fine. We'll be with you every step of the way.
Let me go for a little stroll around the grounds, and I'll see how I feel.
Stay within sight, Mr. Larkin.
Of course.
Once he's sort of out of earshot, I think Ted will go, this is like, that is silly, isn't it?
We cannot leave him up here with our only means of escape.
Yeah, that's...
I do not want to be trapped in a pyramid.
Well, neither does
I'm
Larkin.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure these like voices are echoing down. Like, as I'm crawling around, and I'm just like these flipping guys. Flipping guys.
You could come back out, Justin.
No, I'm starting now.
I mean, I will sort of yell down, like, "Are you okay, Mr. Farwell?
Oh,
What can you see?"
Peachy. What can I see, Johnny?
You can see that your wife was in fact correct, and there is a sloping. The tunnel kind of slopes down ahead of you at quite the angle.
Sure.
What I believe it's a 60-degree angle down.
Farwell's got experience of like welding on like big ships, and like that's he's used to climbing, he's used to using ropes, he's used to that kind of thing. So I'm gonna say that this is something that is I put to you, sir, that this is something that's relatively in Farwell's wheelhouse. Not that gives me any mechanical advantage.
What I'm going to
say there.
What I'm going to say is that you have enough rope here.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty confident that you have enough rope to continue it down this slope to steady everyone. Thus negating any risk caused by the angle.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep going and go as far as I can before, go a reasonable way, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Until I see something interesting and or die.
Cool. So you drop down and you are at a T-junction.
Wonderful. Does the T go Is it going? Is it spreading out when it hits the floor, basically, or what's the T?
Yeah. So based on the sort of the picture that you had of the ruins, from where you come down, it goes southeast and west. Which would make sense with the layout of where you are, because you're kind of at the like northern center almost of the.
So I'm kind of like at the bottom. So the T junction is a horizontal T, but there's actually a fourth way out, which is up.
Yes.
Right. I don't like this at all. If I shine my torch, I guess only one direction at a time down these different corridors. What do I see, Johnny?
South, you see a long corridor that continues on for as far as you can see. To the east, you can see that it's a shortish corridor, and then it opens out kind of to the right. And then to the west, you can see a long corridor, but you can also see a turning off to the left from there as well. Okay. Once you've done a little more exploring, I'll put. Hang on, I'll just kind of.
I think I would like go back and communicate this to the team, and say, do you want me to keep on exploring, or are you going to come down, or should I come back up?
You shouldn't be exploring.
I don't want to get lost, and also this is unsettling.
I mean, do you want to come back up while we wait for Locke to get his head together?
No. I was never very good at orienteering.
Yeah, I don't think I invested in that skill either. I can come down there with you if you want to. Not.
Does anyone have any chalk?
I've got pencils, but
it might be worth marking on the walls where we are.
Yeah,
I
all
don't
right.
get lost down here.
Try and draw a crude map as we walk along with my notepad and sort of pens.
As long as it's
Should
better
be
than
alright.
the drawing you did of that tattoo.
Yeah, cool. I don't like this, but as long as more people come down, I'll feel more comfortable.
Ted will, sort of make his way down.
I'm afraid navigation was never one of my strong suits.
I thank Ted for coming down. This place is unsettling.
Yeah, now that I'm down here, it's well, not quite claustrophobic, but I can see where Larkin's coming from if he is being honest about that. It is definitely unsettling down here.
I'd rather in some ways that it was claustrophobic. Sometimes it feels easier to know that there's something behind you, a solid wall, than somewhere that something could creep up on you.
How
Okay,
I'm guessing is it a pretty narrow beam from this sort of lantern?
So that's kind of what you. So you're here. Oh no, that was the wrong screen. So you're here. This is where you've come down. So you can see a long hallway this way, a hallway that way, and a turning off, and you can see that this opens out over here. You can tell from the way that the light's coming back.
Is the square at the top? Is that like the end of the sloping?
Yeah, that's where you've come in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Just going by our sort of internal compass, is that number 10 roughly where we think the pit might be?
No.
That's
If anything, you think the pit would be down here. Unless this continues round.
Yeah, we obviously don't know that.
Well, I guess I'm gonna pick the first place on my left. I'm gonna take that. Left is always a good way to go, and so if we assume we're facing down that long corridor, I'm gonna go down the left route.
Okay.
Ted's obviously going to follow rather than
And that's because Justin
Oh my god!
has a rule of thumb, which is always go left. Not because this is far more
It's
done.
a good rule.
Yeah.
Well, left as in your left or the map's left?
My left,
Your left.
which is
So
actually
the map's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
It would be
Okay.
madness to have a personal rule that you didn't already surround yourself.
Okay. So you sort of step and see into this chamber. So it's a plain stone-lined room, about 20 feet by 20 feet. There are 3 reed mats on the floor, which are pretty filthy. The room is piled high with a large collection of coins, jewelry, watches, ancient artifacts.
You guys know watches?
Watches?
Yeah.
I'm not there, but
I mean, Ted's no archaeologist, but I think he knows that watches are a little
control.
Also, I'm shoving a load of the stuff into
Oh my
fucking
god!
bag.
Hang on. Because as well as that, there are 2 figures lying on the floor on these reed mats.
Are they wearing watches? Do you want the watches on the figures?
That's not good. That's really how fresh these look pretty bad, right?
If you were guessing from the distance that you saw before, you would guess that these were the 2 that were on top of the pyramid.
Okay.
They look like they're sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, dead people do sometimes look like that. Ted. Oh, Ted.
I'm dead.
Yes.
This is bad.
Yeah, what? Did we just back out slowly or?
Let's back out very slowly.
And yeah, very quietly.
really quietly.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I think we slowly
They
I've
don't
got-
stir. They don't
Before
stir.
I do, like, there isn't like like some kind of hole in the wall from some creature to emerge and devour them. Like this is the dead end room. There are no other ways into this room. So if something
Correct.
was to say like come and feast on these things,
It
then
could
we have
run.
to come in through the passageway that we are exiting through.
It'd come from behind where you're not looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it clearly doesn't want the jewels. It clearly just wants to eat them. And so it's not like it would be a problem if I took the jewels. But I am leaving.
Yeah. We don't need to.
Let's jump back upstairs for a moment. So Larkin comes back and says, I'm very sorry, but I don't feel I can at the moment.
Of course. Well, perhaps we will be able to find another way in or out. But I do feel that it would not be good for you to be left here alone, Mr. Larkin.
I'm sure I'll be fine. I wouldn't worry about me. Jackson says, I wish you well, Mr. Larkin, and starts down the rope.
No.
When Jackson eventually comes down, I am going to comically turn to him, drawing my gun as something has just emerged from the shadows behind me. I'm not going to shoot him, obviously, but I am terrified.
As he's kind of like just down over the edge, he kind of looks at the rest of you and gives a kind of nod as if to say to leave him and come down.
I will look at Mrs. Farwell and Corporal Shane. Are they looking like they want to stay or they want to go?
That's a good question. I think Mrs.
Yeah.
Farwell very much wants to go in and
Yeah, she
look at
does.
what's in here.
Is it like it's not just me who's like Larkin is
If I was there, I'd be pushing him down that fucking
Yes.
hole.
it's like you come all this way and suddenly you don't want to go in and you want us all to go in. This is and there's a pit full of bodies. This is
But anything can sound bad when you say it all, Steve.
Oh God.
I think at this point I would Mr. Larkin, is there something you're not telling us about this place? And about your involvement with it?
Absolutely not. No.
Do I need to make a roll to determine whether he's lying? I am a lawyer.
Did it? I've forgotten now. Did everybody make psychology rolls for him already a moment ago? I think you did.
I did.
I didn't. I
did.
just told him he was a bit silly for coming to a pyramid with claustrophobia. I was too busy calling him out on that to determine whether he's lying or not.
Did you make a roll, Steve?
I did, and I failed it. But his behaviour is so ridiculously. Leave me up here. You will go down. I'll stay here with the rope.
I'm not going to like the rolls don't dictate your actions. So even though you failed the psychology roll, you can still not believe him. Like
I think I would offer to stay up here and keep an eye on Larkin.
Maybe you're also feeling unwell.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
I would welcome the company, Mr. Price, but it's not necessary.
The kind of unwell that requires you to carry a big, heavy object.
Oh,
I
my God.
can't remember. Does Edwin have a weapon?
Edwin does have a weapon, yes.
Right. Good. I will give Mr. Price a nod and climb down the rope.
Cool. So everybody, the group meets up at the base of the tunnel. So
Yeah, I'll communicate what's in that chamber to everyone. I think it's the two that we saw earlier. They look like they're sleeping, but
I mean, we didn't get too close.
no.
Steve, can you make me a power roll, please?
Oh my God. Power. Oh dear.
I think Mr. Farr will say they always look like they're sleeping when they're dead.
Oh dear. No, I did not roll under my power, which is 40. I rolled a 94.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please continue your conversation at the base of the tunnel.
A thought has occurred to me, gentlemen
Mhm.
and Mrs. Farwell, that if the Karasiri are a result of a parasitic infection, then the carriers may in fact be viewed as innocent people in need of medical attention.
What tosh? I say, like brandishing my gun.
I suppose what I'm saying is, I don't know, maybe we could... I don't know.
I mean,
I
if
think
that's
the best. Look, there's two more. We can either go into those chambers and try and wake those two, which it may not be the most terrible idea in the world, or we could go into the chambers and shoot them because they're clearly insane, or we could go a different way through one of these other two tunnels. Now,
No,
I
the
don't
only-
know what we're doing here if we're not here to grab everything that's not nailed down, but but if we are here to do something and not with Larkin apparently, then let's go do it and get out of here.
I mean, it's not a pleasant thought going further into the pyramid and leaving those two ready to wake up, see the rope if Larkin hasn't decided to cut it and throw it down. Yeah, knowing we're in here, obviously maybe more familiar with the place than we are, essentially walking into the dark and unknown. So I'm not saying we shoot them in their sleep, but we need to do something about it.
Perhaps we could apprehend them, bind them, not kill them in their sleep. That is very dishonorable course of action.
I'm not saying.
And then perhaps Corporal Shane could examine them. If they do
think
have an obvious parasite, perhaps it could be removed.
I do think it's sensible for Corporal Shane and someone else to go and investigate the two corpses. And I'm fine pushing on to a different part of the tunnel while that happens.
Who here? I mean, Corporal Shane's got a gun, hasn't he? So we're not taking the only firearm away by doing that.
I have a weapon. If, however, there is a possibility that these people may be innocent victims of a medical malady, then I'm not sure I would be comfortable using it on them.
Well, I think that this tunnel, I say, pointing down the one that's really straight, will be the next one that I'm heading down. I'm sure that Corporal Shane has some stories from the war where some poor injured, like a disemboweled fellow was carefully shot in the back of the head to ease his suffering. That might make the whole thing a bit easier for you, Mr. Barton. And I'm dead when you be coming.
I mean, you can't go on your own, Mr. Farwell.
Well,
We've
I'm
established-
not. I'd say very clearly.
So,
Mrs. Farwell's here, isn't she? She can come too.
I mean, go 3. Well, what do you want to do, Mr. Elias? Are you pressing on or dealing with those two in there?
He turns and looks round a second and says, "Oh, Mr. Price."
Hello.
Good to see you.
I thought you were staying upstairs.
I realised I was being paranoid. Larkin's fine.
I mean, it wasn't just you. I thought it was a sort of unspoken. Is it?
What's up? Come on, let's... What have you found?
There's a couple, maybe the people who were on top of the pyramid before are down this way. They don't seem to be stirring for anything, so but they are alive, and we don't know what's the other ways. I would guess that way is the pit that you discovered. This way we're less sure.
I'm going to start heading down this long, tunnel.
The long one that you think leads to the pit, or the other one?
The long one that leads to the pit. It's the next left.
So that's south. Is that?
Oh,
is that yeah.
I'm going to verify it. Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing your left.
I mean,
Yeah.
So far the system has worked 100% of the time to find dead ends and
bad things.
Okay. Is everybody heading that way?
No, I mean I don't know, but I'm heading that way.
I have still proposed my plan of apprehending these two.
I think that's a
If they're
perfectly sensible
alive.
plan, but I don't think it needs all of us. So
That's true. But it largely hinges on. Again, it sort of hinges on the will of a player character that isn't here. So it's kind of up to whether, as the only one with any surgery practice, it's up to whether Corporal Shane is also willing to do it.
Yeah,
sure
I think Shane would be happy to. Yeah. So yeah, what's the general plan? Like, just try and grab them and get them restrained.
Yeah, I have a rope. I don't know if we have any other rope.
We have the rope that's our escape route.
Yeah,
You could do the double tie up
rope.
with one.
Yeah, maybe tie up one, pin down the other, examine the body. Yeah, it's only half a plan. I will admit that.
Okay. Yeah. So right, let's do. So Justin, Mr. Farwell walks down this corridor for some way, and you can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Just as I think Ted would have gone as well. I think if there's enough people apprehending them, he's seen that room.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, so you head down this way, and yes, you are correct. When you get to the actual opening, you can see skeletal remains with kind of like a bit of light coming through. So you're pretty.
Do we have to make sanity rolls for this?
No, not for this.
Okay, all right, that's good.
At
But
least
it
we know
looks
where
like
the
this
bar
is a way that we could take to get out of here if we had to in a rush.
Yes.
Great,
You're
fantastic.
You're not sure how that might affect your sanity as you are thinking about this as
I
an
mean,
escape route.
No, it does sound absolutely appalling. Yeah. But I'm also glad that so far we haven't clumsily walked through any traps that would have, caused any boulders to roll or crush us or drop us into a pit of snakes. So that's good. That's good.
Or swinging axes.
Or fire. Fire's a good one. Poison darts.
Did we establish that someone else actually has a light? We've not just walked off with the only light source, have we?
I don't tend to establish these things before walking off.
You would,
Yeah.
Larkin has brought enough for people to have,
Oh, John.
Just left the rest.
It's my light. I don't remember agreeing that I had to carry the party light. I bought a light. If you weren't smart enough to bring a light to
Edwin
pyramid.
was an electric torch was on Edwin's pre-travel.
Yeah, exactly.
List.
Sensible people on this expedition.
John's in a bad way.
The idea of being trapped in the basement of the cursed pyramid. And just the one person with a lamp just going, I'm going this way.
I'm going this way.
Screw you guys.
It's my lamp.
Oh, God.
Okay. So the group doing the apprehension, are you going for the sneak in and then grab, or are you going for seeing if they remain in the state that they are in if you try and sneakily what do you think you're going for? I'm going to also make idea rolls for Mrs. Farwell and Martin. Oh, okay.
Well,
bear in mind, Mrs. Farwell has the touch. She's legit psychic.
My brawl is very slightly higher than my stealth, so maybe going in and grabbing them would be the idea.
Okay. So we need to decide who's going to be pinning while one is tied and vice versa. Let's look at the stats. Actually, I imagine that Martin's fighting brawl, that's 30. I don't know what yours is.
25. It's the base.
Okay. So let's say that Shane is doing the tying while you do the hold for a moment for speed reasons.
Yep.
So, that's going to be slow. Can
I assist if I'm?
Well, what I'm going to you go in and Shane is basically sneaking up to this person that's on the floor, and actually, John, Merritt thinks that on the way in, you kind of between you accidentally kick a bit of pot and things like that, and they don't stir at all. So actually, as Shane kind of gets up to this first person, looks at you and kind of starts to position rope around them, without it being on them yet, and then goes for basically gets himself in a position over the top so that he can pin if necessary, but starts to kind of just gently move this rope around this figure on the floor. It's one male and one female, worth noting, but it's not the woman and the boy. You think that these are probably the ones who attacked Julio and Domingo on the road, from the description that he gave of them. But yeah, Shane basically manages to tie this person without waking them.
Okay.
And kind of has a length of rope like that, and you think they're probably close enough that you could do an okay job of tying the second one in the same fashion, like with, you know, say 6 feet of rope kind of connecting them in the middle. But if you tie it off right, like they're still tied up and tied together just a bit far apart.
Are they fairly confident that they're actually alive? Like, you know,
They're breathing.
No one out there. They're breathing.
Yeah. They're
okay.
breathing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They look very gaunt. If you want to make an idea roll, John, or if you have an idea yourself, you can ask.
I will make an idea roll. Will that be knowledge? No.
It's int.
No, it's int.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh no. 80 over 55.
Okay. Yeah, they look very gaunt.
Is
not in
Edwin
the
also
same
with
way
us?
as like Trinidad Rizzo. Yes, Edwin is with you, yeah. So they don't look that sort of like desiccated, but they look yeah, like they haven't eaten in a few days.
Which makes
but-
sense because
but-
they didn't manage to feed off Domingo.
And they've been vomiting up. I'm presuming these are. Well, I'm just making the assumption that these two are the ones.
Yeah,
that
you're reasonably certain from you know, you didn't see their faces from the distance, but you're relatively confident that these are the two that were on top of the pyramid.
So,
but they are now tied up.
Their contents, then.
So let's say that you meet up back at the kind of T-junction, the rest of everyone.
Did Corporal Shane manage to examine any of them?
Oh, yeah, let's do that, actually. Medicine. That is a 1. That is a 1. And yet he discovers no sign of anything. Like, you know, there's nothing writhing under the surface. There's no sort of... yeah.
They're just very, very asleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we found the other end. Well, the body pit. That's down that long corridor. So, anything on your guys' end? Are they all safely tied up?
Safely tied up, but nothing else, really.
Shane says, yeah, they didn't. We tied them up without them waking.
There's
there's
one
no-
more tunnel.
We're down here now. We may as well go see where this tunnel leads.
Just to check, is our exit rope still currently in place?
Yes. Two
Yeah.
balls.
Good.
And does Mr. Larkin, if we call up to him, is he still around? Is he considered changing his mind?
Are you shouting up to him?
I mean, give it a go.
He replies and says, still not feeling great, I'm afraid.
There there is another way in if you want to go in. I mean, like in.
I mean, the tunnel with all the dead bodies was more open than the one we crawled through.
Oh yeah, very open.
Like, ignoring the dead bodies, like the actual opening, and it's less claustrophobic.
We could try and I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to
Okay.
persuade him to come down here, are we? I think.
Okay. You going down the final tunnel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Final tunnel.
From where you
Find
are.
out the three.
It forks, doesn't it? So yeah, let's
now our
let's
leftmost
make our
tunnel,
way. And yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. That is correct. It is now the most leftmost tunnel. So we do need to take a look.
In that case, let's leave it there for the week.
Ooh.
Thanks,
I hope
everyone.
Larkin's okay. He seems to be really taking this hard that he can't come in with us.
Cool. Thank you, everybody, for playing and for watching. If anybody has any questions or comments, put them in the chat and we'll discuss them in a moment. We have Simba Room on this Wednesday. We are back next Monday, and then Simba Room on Wednesday again, and then the Yellow King, the bi-weekly slot, is next Thursday for that. Links to everything else, social media, Discord, Patreon, other streaming services below the video. And there will hopefully be a one-shot at some point in November. So if you join us on the Discord or the social media, then we will share that. Is there a preliminary date of the 23rd? I think.
I think so.
But nobody quote me on that. So yes, I think that's everything. That was fun. Thanks, everyone. There's nothing to worry about.
Of course not. We're 2/3 of the way through this pyramid. Like, nothing to it.
It does seem to
And
be
like all the
accelerating,
baddies are just sleeping. So
Yeah.
no bother.
It does seem to be accelerating, doesn't it? It feels like we were in was it Cusco, the original sort of town? The
Puno.
Lima?
Puno, that was it. Yeah.
Lima.
Lima.
Yeah.
I think Cusco is from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, that's probably what I was getting mixed up with. They're very similar. What we're playing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there for obviously a while investigating, and then once we're on the road, and now we're here, it's definitely accelerating.
How's Ted's supernatural filter working out?
There's still nothing supernatural that has, these are just two ill people with a parasite.
Right, okay. And the pit of bodies. So there's a pit of bodies.
Yeah,
and two ill people in.
We're in a lost South American pyramid. It'd be
it's
weird
just the local.
Bodies.
It's
like,
just
Yeah, it comes with the turf, I guess.
Right.
Right. I mean, yeah, we do this every time.
Cool. Any good questions or comments, John?
Lots.
It's one of them. Why haven't you run away from this awful place?
Yes, exactly. I like.
Jump into the pit and start moshing from 42.
It'd be way
very good.
With Ted being like, "Oh, we can just go down the lot. Now it's time to go down the lost tunnel." I'm like, "We don't have to. We can just
we can just stay here forever."
That's like playing Russian roulette, and you've got 3 rounds of pistol, and you fired 2 of them, and no one's died, and you're like, "Well, let's fucking shoot the 3rd." It's like, no, don't do that.
We're obviously lucky that we've not been shot yet, so we may as well do the last one.
Jack, we get covered in slime like some sort of horrific 1920s Nickelodeon. I'm going to start describing things as gunge in... Dave Benson Phillips appears out of nowhere. Sorry if you're not from the UK, you'll have no idea what it's... Or if you're under the age of like 30, probably you also won't know. It was all gunge and Dave Benson Phillips and Pat Sharp in the 90s. Any more?
I also like this
say
one.
Gunge anymore. Steve, I really don't like the way that Johnny is clearly flicking through the spell section. No idea what you mean.
I
I wasn't flicking. I already had it at the page.
He was just browsing.
Power roll and sudden change of heart.
I'll select this one.
Patchwork Fairs. I'm now contemplating whether sanity equals ethics in Lovecraftian games.
It's a fair, yeah.
No,
Sometimes it
anyone
does.
who's sane
Sometimes.
would take the sensible option out, which often means doing deeply unethical things, but you get to live. Like,
Yeah.
But harming human life that has a sand cost. You can't just go around and.
I imagine. Yeah, I don't know whether it's in the rules, but especially if they're sleeping and as far as you can tell, unarmed.
there's a reason why my sand's only 60 to begin with.
Your sand's 60. That's high.
Yeah. 2040, and he doesn't believe any of this.
Yeah, mine's I think 38 now or something.
Okay, maybe I'm doing good then.
I can't remember. Is there a sanity penalty for like shooting or injuring a vulnerable enemy?
Oh, I know there is in Delta Green. I don't know about. I'd have to check for Call of Cthulhu.
I'm not sure about general because, like, obviously with the campaign book, it tells you when there's sand stuff. So I haven't really, I haven't checked that
yet.
It feels like maybe should be if your character isn't already a wrong'un. Like,
yeah.
In effect, my
I was on the flirting with wrong'uns. He's flirting that wrong'un line.
There's an example list of sanity costs, and none of them are shoot a sleeping person to death. So.
That's fine then.
I like that you added the to death part.
Gently shoot them.
There is a surprise to find a corpse or body part. I don't know whether we
found quite a few.
Yeah,
but you won't be. I suppose you shouldn't be surprised at the corpse if you just shot them. So
yeah, true.
I meant the pits.
I feel like you're almost like you're kind of prepped for a weird situation here. I feel like if you walked into your house and there was a body in there, that would be a different.
If there was a pit of bodies in your house, that's definitely.
Unless you put them there.
Unless you put them there, yeah.
In which case, the lack of a pit of bodies might be what causes the sanity loss. Anyway, on that note, please come back next week. Please.
Is that to the audience or us?
Everyone, including myself.
That to his body pit.
You can have a week off. And right, cool. Yes, Simbaroom on Wednesday. We're back next Monday, and the Yellow King is on next Thursday. Please do come join us on the Discord and chat to us about things. And yes, we will see you. We won't see you. You will see us next Monday, unless the body pit has put you off. Bye.